So, a very good morning, everybody. Welcome to the session. I hope all of you can see and hear me clearly. All of you know that at this particular point, at this particular time, we meet and discuss different types of passages. And if I do a quick summary of what we have been doing in the last 10-15 days, right, we have been focusing on passages which come in the exam, which have been taken from past exams, and I have started focusing on 2 3 skills. Right, the first skill is how do you remember what the passage is all about. By practical means, we look at, okay, what is the structure, we think of it as a map, and we try to recall all the ideas. Number one. Number two, we also try to look at the strategies which are required to answer questions. Right, to answer questions you require basically many things, of course, but two primary things. Number one is the ability to eliminate wrong answer options, right? And second, the second skill is to be able to connect the data that is required in the questions with the data that is given in the passage. So for that, retention is required. So that is what we have been doing so far, right? And we will continue with that also today, right? And before we go ahead any further, this is the schedule for the entire week. You can see, right? So that is what we can see, and there are some questions already. Okay, Aniket, देखो, Aniket, what you're saying is mock में number नहीं आ रहा. That is, for that you need to understand what you went wrong in, right? So एक mock देने के बाद, when you take a mock, there are questions which you will get wrong and questions you could not attempt. Do not leave them. Mock अगर 2 घंटे का है तो you need to sit down with it and analyze it for at least another 3-4 hours, right? 3-4 hours में इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ because whatever questions you went wrong, you will have to solve it properly. Whatever questions which you did not attempt, that also you need to look at, right? So analysis से ही होगा, right? Things will improve, not suddenly. ऐसे suddenly improve नहीं होगा, it will take time, right? Okay, so let me tell you what we will take up today. Today we will attempt short passages with questions, right? Instead of taking one passage, we will take 2-3 passages with different questions asked at the end, right? And let me tell you, all the passages which I am going to discuss with you have been taken from actual exams, right? And while reading the passage, we will focus on the words, but more than the words, I would like you to remember the gist of the passage. Okay, so there will be 3 short passages that we will pick up today. The first passage is this, and there's also a question that is asked. Right. So the statement, some words are highly inflammable. So what does it do? So for this, just attempt this question and see. Right. It will take you probably 20-30 seconds to read it. So read it for some time and then we will start discussing it. Everybody's read it, I hope. Yes. Now, some words are highly inflammable. This word inflammable is a very, confusing word. A lot of people think inflammable, matlab, in makes the word negative. Flammable means something which can be burnt. But inflammable, flammable, inflammable, they are all the same. It means they can cause fire. Okay, so fusion is one of them. Now, when you read up to here, you will be slightly worried. I mean, why is fusion? Why is fusion inflammable? I mean, what is so frightening? How can it cause fire? You will get to know it when you start reading from here. You can get two sets of people into a war mode by just uttering the words fusion music. So he's speaking about the context of music. Fusion introduce करने के लिए बोला है, लेकिन he's speaking about specifically music, right? So and why is it inflammable? Because people will start fighting the moment you mention the word fusion music, right? So one set will breathe fire and say it violates the purity of music. The others will tell you earnestly that it opens the borders of music, right? So what is the, which of the following, what does the statement do? Okay, let's see. Okay, सबसे पहले कॉन्ट्रडिक्टरी स्टेटमेंट तो नहीं है, पिंकी, फ्यूजन इज नॉट ओके. फ्यूजन एक तो फ्यूजन रिएक्शन है, राइट. व्हाट इज फ्यूजन बाय द वे? फ्यूजन म्यूजिक इज बेसिकली व्हेन यू कंबाइन. फ्यूजन म्यूजिक क्या होता है? क्लासिकल म्यूजिक एंड मॉडर्न म्यूजिक को कंबाइन करना, दैट इज फ्यूजन म्यूजिक. फ्यूजन इज बेसिकली कंबाइनिंग. ठीक है, राइट. ऑल क्लियर? राइट. सो व्हाट शुड बी द आंसर? Okay, some of you have started answering, right? So many think, okay, Aniket and Krishnakant think the answer is A. Okay, Himanshu also thinks the answer is A, right? If you think the answer is A, correct, right? It captures the essence because some words are highly inflammable. They can cause fire. What is the fire? People start fighting the moment you say fusion music. So it can cause something like a war. It can cause people to start debating, can cause people to start fighting. That is why it is inflammable. So the word, this line, some words are highly inflammable, it captures the essence of the passage, right? How do we eliminate the others? Look at B. Linguistic embellishment. Embellishment basically means beautification. Embellishment is a word, basically is nothing else but beautification, ornamentation, beautification. But then Aniket, the theme is words, not music. No, you cannot say the theme is in music. Some words can be inflammable. So it's not like sirf words. The theme, the passage is about how some words can be inflammable. Not everywhere. It is in music, right? Fusion music is inflammable, right? So it's not that words are inflammable. He's telling you words are inflammable in a certain context, not everywhere, right? So that is why. So it's not that the theme is words as well as music. Some words in the context of music. ठीक है, right? So embellishment, beautification, it is not just beautification. Irrelevant, exaggeration. Irrelevant बिल्कुल नहीं है, right? And what is a dogmatic assertion? Dogmatic is believing in something blindly without questioning it. ठीक है, everybody got the point, I hope, right? This question you can see, this is from Zat. ठीक है, another question. Another question based on the same passage. You have read the passage. Now try to answer this question from the purist's perspective. Now you are supposed to look at the perspective of, of two. There are two sides there. One is those who believe in the purity, and the other one who believe that they are expanding the borders. Right. Right. So what is the meaning of the word purist? Purist is people who believe in preserving the purity, people who do not want to, change things, who would like to preserve things as they are. Okay, right. So try to answer this question also. Krishna Kant, dekho, some words can make a huge meaning, not in songs. Some words does not mean can make a huge meaning. Nahi, nahi. Some words can cause fights in the field of music, and that word is fusion music. So he's telling you that fusion music is something which makes people fight a lot. It's an area which is full of controversy. Right. So what should be the answer? So according to the purist perspective, now you're supposed to answer from the perspective of the purist. Who are purist? People who would like to preserve things as they are without any change. So Ayush is the first to answer. Ayush thinks the answer is C. What about others? बाकी लोगों को क्या लग रहा है? So you have to answer from the perspective of the purist specifically. Okay. So A, B, C, many people, okay, many people have different answers. So everybody is giving different answers. Let's see. Ideological conflict between, is it a conflict between two ideas? If you notice, from the purist perspective, so there are two sides. One is people, purist, and the other one would be, there are two sides. One who would, so what do they say? Purists say we want it to be pure, and the other side says we want to make it, we want to expand. So these are the two sides. Now, if A cannot be the answer, because A is, you are looking at it from an objective perspective. The question asks you to look from this perspective, not from objectivity. So it cannot be A, because A is an objective analysis. Are you supposed to be objective? No. Purist कौन है? People who would like to preserve them. For them, it's an attempt to preserve the core principles. The best answer is C. Right. Even B cannot be the answer, because it's not about younger or older. The word purist itself means that they want things to be pure. Of course, the opposite side would like to destroy the purity according to them. ठीक है, so it's an attempt for them, according to them, to preserve the core principles. ठीक है, everybody understood? So those of you who marked A, you are not following the question. The question says from the perspective of one side. ठीक है, it is not asking you to look at overview, third person's point of view नहीं देखना. You have to look from one perspective. ठीक है, all clear, I hope. So these are two sets of questions. So you learned words on the way. At the same time, you need to be, I mean, जो paragraph हमने पढ़ा है, we need to be able to summarize it, and also we need to be able to answer questions. All clear, I hope. Okay, right, now let's read the next slide. Right, next slide. Okay, this contains questions, right? Okay, so दो questions है, right? But before that, let's first read this slide. Let's try to understand what it means to say. Okay, so this is the slide. Let's see. So what have you read? I think everybody has read the slide, right? And here I hope there are no words which are difficult, right? It is all about summarizing what you have read. What have you read? What does it say? So when you calculate the probability of something like death, right? He is telling you it can be defined only in a particular way. What is that particular way? You cannot think of the probability of death of only one specific or one individual. You should think of a whole class. Like he gives you an example, all insured men. Insured basically means people who have bought insurance, right? I hope all of you understand the difference between ensure and insure. Ensure is to make sure that something happens, right? And insure is insurance kharidna. So here it means insurance, people who have bought insurance. So it's telling you that when you calculate probability of death, you will have to have a certain class. It cannot be for individuals. Okay, you cannot calculate the probability of death for individuals alone. So all insured men 40 years old living in a not country, not in so he's telling you about, you should have classes like this, right? So a probability of death is attached to the class of men, or another class that can be defined in a similar way. We can say nothing about the probability of death of an individual even if you know the condition of life and health in detail. So in short, probability of death when it refers to a single person has no meaning. It should be calculated for an entire class, because one person's, he may live, he may die, it is impossible to calculate. He's saying you should calculate it only when you have an entire class. Everybody has read the slide, I hope. Everybody has understood it. So what is the essence? What is he saying? When you calculate something like probability of death, right, you can only calculate it on the basis of an entire class. You cannot do it for specific individuals, specific samples. Okay, everybody has read it, I hope. Now let's try the question. Which of the following conclusions can be drawn from the passage? And there are options. So let's see. Be very careful. Now, this question is a test of your retention and your ability to infer also. So, what should be the answer? What did we just read? Right. Based on that, try to answer the question. Waiting for your responses. I hope everybody is able to understand. Eliminate करके चलो. If you look at one, singular events can be assigned a numerical probability value. This is exactly the opposite of what the author says. He says when you want to calculate probability, you cannot do it for singular, for single things. You should calculate for an entire class. Everybody understood this, I hope. Right. So one is not correct. Right. So many people are saying, okay, Vaishnavi B, many people, Krishnakant, Pinky, and funny thing saying that should be D. So choice between D and B. D and B, अच्छा D में देखो one तो है नहीं, ठीक है, one definitely is not the case. So now we have to look at 2 and 3. Probability calculation requires data of the class of people or of events. ये तो है ही. So that means the answer will have to be either B or D. It will depend on whether 3 is there or not. Acha, look at 3. The data about a class of events can be used to predict the future. Are you predicting the future in the passage or are you calculating probability? In the passage, are you calculating probability or are you predicting the future? Tell me. In the passage, do you calculate probability or do you predict the future? You will know very clearly that the passage is about calculation of probability. Calculation of probability is not the same as prediction of future. So the answer cannot be 3. It will have to be therefore only 2. This is what I always keep on telling you, right? Prediction of the future is an idea which the author does not touch. So do not answer according to what you think. Answer according to what the passage says and what can be inferred from it. So what is the best answer here? The best answer should be B. Everybody got the point, I hope. सबको समझ में आया हो? All understood, I think. All clear? So these are questions. Everybody is clear? Now, if it is all clear, so we are calculating probability, not predicting the future. Everybody understood it? Right. Okay. Now, another question based on the same passage. I hope all of you are carrying the idea in the mind. Which of the following statements would the author disagree to the most? Right. So, disagree करना है, disagree. ठीक है, and you are supposed to use the data that is given in the passage which you have read along with this data and look at the answer option. So now let's quickly remember the data which we just read in the passage. What was the data it was about? The author said something like when you calculate probability, right, you should be calculating probability not for individuals or not for just one sample, you should have it for an entire class. Okay, so that was data. Now the passage you can see, you have read the passage, you have the data, right? The question that you're going to answer here, it will depend on this data also. Let's see. I hope all of you can see me. My image is not superimposing. I think I'll move a little bit. I've moved to the side now. It is clear, I think. Which of the following would the author disagree to the most? So apply whatever you have read to this principle here. You're looking at the outcome of a boxing match to be held in Los Angeles between two boxers, Joe and Mark, right? So they belong to two different boxing clubs, right? And it's about assigning a numerical value of a probability. It is not predicting the future, right? But so in what cases would the author disagree the most? Disagree. We are looking at disagree. What would the author disagree the most? Vaishnavi saying A. What about others? Why is it A, Vaishnavi? Yash also thinks answer is A. Why would the author disagree with A? Disagree करना है, disagree. Right. Let's see. Let's start from E. By analyzing the outcome of fights between the two boxers at the same venue in Los Angeles. So here you have different samples, right? So at the same venue, right? If they fight many times, what will happen? So it still has different samples, different. It's like you are arriving at the probability by looking at many instances. So E is something which the author would not disagree. इसमें कम से कम there are many samples. Even in D, outcomes of fights between the two boxers against same opponents. Here also you are looking at many samples at least. Even in C, different venues, many samples. Right. In fact, B is something which the author would agree with the most because you are looking at not just the two individuals but many people who belong to different classes. So the concept of classes, right? So a B is in fact something which the author would agree the most. A is the answer because यहाँ कोई class तो हो ही नहीं रहा. You are speaking about just two people A and B when they fight, right? So it was their fitness level and strength. So you are calculating only on the basis of fitness level of two people, right? So the best answer is A. Everybody is clear? Vaishnavi, it is not because the paragraph is not telling about the fitness. It is not this. The paragraph tells you, the paragraph में तो boxer के बारे में बताया भी नहीं है, right? You are supposed to answer it not on the basis of this only, but पहले वाला passage भी. पहले वाला passage में क्या था? When we assign a numerical value, हम किस पे what do we focus on? We do not focus on individuals. It is there for different classes याद दिख रहा है? If you notice, classes दिख रहा है. It is just two people involved, so A is something which the author would disagree. ठीक है. कृष्णकांत E नहीं, because E में कम से कम थोड़ा सा there are many samples because you are analyzing the outcomes of different fights between the two individuals, so at least you have different samples, so the best answer is A. ठीक है. Disagree. Everybody understood this? And if you are asked something like which of the author would the author agree with the most, I would go for B. Disagree, it is A. Everybody got the point? Right. ठीक है. All clear? ठीक है. Right. So Vaishnavi joined late anyway. So that is why वही मैं कह रहा हूँ. This question is connected to a previous passage also. ठीक है. Anyway, चलो. Let's try the last passage. The last passage. This is of 2 slides. I want everybody to go slow. And if you notice, we are taking up different passages which are short, and we are answering questions right away after that. What is the focus? The focus is to retain ideas को retain करके चलना है. ठीक है. Right. Now this slide you will have ample time. You will be given ample time to answer it. Let's see. Right, everybody read it. So what does the author say? Right, we are not only afraid of being in the dark, but we are also suspicious of being kept in the dark. He's playing with words, right? So we are afraid of the dark, but the main theme is not just afraid of darkness. He is introducing how we would like things to be explained. We would like an explanation of things. Being kept in the dark, matlab we know nothing. Everything is kept a secret to us. That is the meaning of the idiom. So he's telling us that we would like to find some answer at least to things which cannot be explained. So that is why he's saying we often feel that the universe has a hidden order that we cannot quite comprehend. In ancient times, this order was attributed to the gods. Omnipotent, meaning capable of doing everything. ठीक है. Right. Conspiracy क्या होता है वैष्णवी? Conspiracy is when people get together and plan something, right? So a conspiracy is when a group of people get together and plan something big. It is mostly something bad. So a conspiracy is a plan. The conspiracy to kill a person, the conspiracy to rig elections, the conspiracy to fix a cricket match, something like this. So people getting together and planning to do something big. That is right. So he's saying, देखो, we would like to explain things. Of course, there are many things that we see which cannot be explained easily. So पहले we used to attribute it to gods. Now we attribute it to conspiracies. What do you mean by conspiracies? Conspiracies matlab there must be somebody who is doing something. There must be a group, international power who are planning things. So that is what he means by this. Assassination क्या होता है? Assassination is killing of famous people, political assassinations, right? So, if you notice, these conspiracies are cited for events that are too important to be random. So that means when things happen, right, we want an explanation for it. We do not expect things to be random. We want explanations, right? So, and we do not describe them according to God, right? We think they must be the work of other people. People are hiding their influence over us, covering up their involvement. They are keeping the rest of us in the dark among the events, right? So, if you notice, uh, among the events attributed to these people are political assassinations and UFO sightings. Now, what is the author telling you? He is telling us that when things happen around us which we do not know why, we try to explain it. Earlier, we tried to explain it by using God. Now, we do not believe in God, so we try to explain it by using the fact that somebody international, some big organization must be doing it. Right? In short, we do not believe in randomness. We want things to, we believe that things that happen in life are happening for a reason, और वो reason हम ढूंढते रहते हैं. Everybody understood this, I hope. All got the point, right? Everybody is clear. If it is clear, I will move on to the next slide. All clear, everybody? ठीक है? Right. Next slide is just one paragraph. Right. This is the last slide, the last paragraph. Right. Who are buffs? Right. If I use the word buff as a noun, buff is somebody who's like an ardent follower. Right. So buff as a word, if I use it as a noun, it means an ardent follower. So you can say conspiracy buff, matlab people who keenly believe in, right? Who keenly and ardently follow, conspiracy theories. ठीक है? What are conspiracy theories? The theory that whatever is happening around us, किसी ने कुछ प्लान किया है, कुछ ना कुछ गड़बड़ है. For example, I'll give you an example. COVID-19 जो पैंडेमिक है, conspiracy theories will say ये ऐसा कुछ नहीं, सब ने मिल के प्लान किया है, right? People are benefiting from it. ये अपने आप नहीं हुआ कि कोई नेचुरल वेचुरल कुछ नहीं, किसी ने प्लान करके all the pharmaceutical companies are together. So that's a conspiracy theory. ठीक है? What is sinister? Okay, Vaishnavi, एक मिनट रुक जाओ. There must be understand the whole paragraph rather than just one line, right? There must be a central planner who is at the hub of a sinister form of order. Hub मतलब central. Sinister means something which is cunning, which is secret here, right? Sinister means cunning and evil. ठीक है? So he is saying things are happening. There must be somebody or something who's planning everything, and he is at the hub of this form of order. Matlab everything should be organized by somebody. So that is called sinister form of order. Sinister means evil or cunning. Okay, understood, I hope. Right. So no one admits to the conspiracy, so there must be a cover up. So he's saying cover up means it must be hidden. Right. So this is what is the author is describing. He does not agree or disagree with this idea. He is only telling us this is how human beings think. How do human beings think? Human beings think that when something is happening around us, right, we want an explanation for it. We do not believe that अपने आप randomly तो नहीं हुआ होगा, किसी ने कुछ किया होगा. पहले we used to think of God. Now we do not think of God. We think there must be some power which must be planning it, must be some international power doing it. There must be some organization which is behind all this, right? There must be some conspiracy behind this. So this is, in short, human beings want everything to be explained in the form of order. We do not believe in randomness. Everybody has got the point. I hope everybody understood. Yes, right. Okay. Shall we look at the questions now? Right. Be very careful. You have all understood the idea. And as I was telling you, the author here is describing you this concept that human beings want order. Therefore, we look for explanations in the form of conspiracy theories. Does the author disagree or agree? No, he's only telling you this is what human beings do. Okay. Right. All clear? Now, which of the following statements, if true, would weaken the underlying logic of the above passage? And there are answer options. और answer options क्या है? One, there are combinations. So पहले एक काम करो. There are 5 options. इसमें से weaken एक से ज़्यादा करेगा. Something which is against the logic. What is the logic? The logic is that human beings, we would like things to be explained in a proper logical order. We do not believe in randomness. That is why we look for explanations. Everybody is understanding it now, so you'll have to weaken the underlying logic. So there are more than, there are 5 options. इसमें से 2, 3, 4 भी हो सकता है. So answer options मैं बाद में दिखाऊंगा. First tell me which of the following weakens the logic. Kunal is saying Maharashtra CET exam today, second slot. Kunal, in that case, I would say you should spend the time mentally preparing yourself for it, right? And do not go assuming anything. Give it your best shot, and 50 minutes, right? 50 minutes, sorry. Questions का जो number है, you would have got some idea about it from the past analysis, right? So do not be completely anticipating that वही होगा, but more or less expect the same trend. ठीक है, and all the best. Do not take anything to, बहुत ज़्यादा, do not be too, what do you call, tensed about it, right? It's just an exam, right? So take it like that. Okay, so what should be the answer? अच्छा, एक बार बताओ. Let me look at there are 5 questions here, right? I'll tell you which are the ones which weaken. देखो, what does option 1 say? The human need for order is a highly exaggerated notion. यहाँ से ही पता चल रहा है कि दिस लाइन सेज ऑर्डर की जो नीड है, इट इज हाईली एग्जैजरेटेड. ही इज अगेंस्ट ऑर्डर. एंड इन द पैसेज व्हाट डू यू से? ह्यूमन बीइंग्स वांट एन एक्सप्लेनेशन, अ लॉजिकल एक्सप्लेनेशन. एवरी रैंडमनेस में बिलीव नहीं करते. ह्यूमन बीइंग्स बिलीव इन ऑर्डर. दैट मीन्स इट इज अगेंस्ट. सो वन इज समथिंग व्हिच वीकन्स. Does everybody agree with this? Yes or no? Yes, nobody is responding, so I am actually कर नहीं करा. ये बता रहा है कि randomness. Okay, अच्छा एक बार बताओ. What according to the passage we do not like randomness. ठीक है, we like, so it is less guided by pure randomness than by well defined the natural processes. Even in, if you look at, even in the second option in B, you find that, okay, they are subjected to randomness at varying intervals of time and space, which means there is some randomness. There is some randomness. So the answer should be involving two. Okay, did not get it. एक बार बताओ. Weakened under, what was the logic of the passage? The logic of the passage was that human beings believe in logical order, logical explanation. We want something to be happening in order. We do not want something to happen in randomness. ठीक है, so we believe in order. We want order or logic. We do not want, we do not think that randomness arbitrary. We do not believe in this. This is what the passage says. Do you agree now? Right. That is why we look for explanations for things happening around us. We do not accept that ऐसे ही हुआ होगा arbitrary, कोई reason नहीं. We do not take it like this. We want an order. We want a logic behind it. ठीक है. Now, first one समझ में आया. The second need for order is a so. One says the need for order is a highly exaggerated notion. मतलब order अच्छा नहीं है. That means it is weakening. Right. Okay, what about the second one? Second option, the universe is less guided by pure randomness, right? It means randomness नहीं तो ऐसा लग रहा है कि यहाँ support कर रहा है लेकिन आगे देखो. So a universe is, what is it guided by? It is guided by natural processes. But then the natural processes are also subjected to randomness. That means the universe runs according to randomness. But we do not like randomness, which means this is also weakening, right? Look at this. So to some extent, even B is weakening, right? And Vaishnavi, what you're saying about, the center people and all, this is a problem with most exams. I mean, बहुत exams में होता है, right? So there's nothing much we can do about it. It's a part of what life is all about. ठीक है? I hope everybody understood two also. ठीक है? Everybody understood the second, third. देखो, right? To strengthen the case for a variety of conspiracies, the conspiracy verbs are extrapolating from. So here also the author is, this line is questioning the conspiracy buffs, right? And in fact ये idea जो है, we want order, we do not believe in randomness. इसीलिए तो हम conspiracy में believe करते हैं. And this third option is against conspiracy, which means it is against the passage. So 1, 2 and 3 should be the answer. What about 4? Right. The persons propounding the different theories are usually novelists. Right. इससे कुछ weaken, गलत सही तो कुछ है ही नहीं. Right. They are like novelists. They are simply doing the job. So it's not saying that it is good or bad. ठीक है. And 5 में problem क्या है? The human fear of being kept in the dark is much stronger than the fear of lack of order. Now देखो, fear of lack of order. If you noticed, we do not, we want order. ठीक है. So we do not want lack of order. So in any case it is not weakening it, because human fear of being kept in the dark is something which is very similar to lack of order only, right? So these are two things which, even if one is greater than the other, it does not go against the passage, right? So what should be the answer? The best answer to this should be 1, 2 and 3. ठीक है. All got the point? So weakening is basically that. इलिमिनेट करके भी कर सकते हैं. जहां पे 4 है वो तो हो ही नहीं सकता. 4 जहां पे है, कैन ऑल्सो एलिमिनेट लाइक दिस. 4 क्यों नहीं? बिकॉज 4 जो है, इट इज नीदर गुड नॉर बैड. ठीक है. सो दिस इज समथिंग व्हिच वी कैन ऑल्सो यूज टू अराइव एट द आंसर. ठीक है. राइट. ऑल क्लियर, आई होप. सो विद दैट वी कम टू द एंड ऑफ द session. I hope all of you understood. Right. So we will continue like this, and all of you know about it, that the analysis of the exam Maharashtra CET is going to be live from 12 o'clock. Right. It's going to be there at 12 and 5. So definitely you should attend it. Right, and see. And there is this September sale. There is a flat 25% discount on the classroom program if you use this code extra 25. So these are some courses which are still open and running, and you can see that these are the people, the teachers who take your classes, right? And these are the two time frames. All of you know about it. You can prepare for 2021. You can target 2022 also, right? And do not forget to take this, attend this mock, right? It will help you prepare for the exam CAT, especially the DI and LR section. So with that, we come to the end of the session. I will see you again tomorrow. Till then, have a nice day. Thank you, everybody. See you.